Rockers in Recovery Media is dedicated to carrying the message of addiction recovery through music, news, events, and festivals taking place within and not limited to the clean and sober community. Rockers in Recovery Radio is based on opinion only and is not meant to treat or diagnose any health or mental health issue of any kind. If you feel you need help for any health-related issues, please contact a physician or mental health professional. The opinions expressed by our guests are not necessarily those of Rockers in Recovery.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Waking Up Blessed. I'm your host, John Hollis. This show is live Monday through Friday, 9 to 9:30 a.m. You can check us out right at Rockers in Recovery on Facebook, and the show is always pinned Monday through Friday to the top of the Facebook page. So it's at Rockers in Recovery. You can check us out there. You can also check us out at rockersinrecovery.com and click on radio. You can also click on media partners, and, of course, on the home page when you go to rockersinrecovery.com. It's filled with past shows and different news information, a bunch of posts there, a bunch of blogs, great stuff. Check it out, rockersinrecovery.com. And, of course, this show is about bringing stories of experience, strength, and hope and inspiration, and a start for our day with maybe a quote or a thought for the day. And, of course, our guests talk about how waking up blessed is for them, what they do, what their strategy is in the morning. When I wake up, I hit my knees and ask God to get me through the day, most importantly, and to relieve me of the obsession or the thought of a drink or a drug. I've been doing that for a long time. And, of course, the other things that I ask is that, most importantly, that others may be helped and help me to be of maximum service to Him and the people about me. And, that maybe my character defects and shortcomings may be taken care of through His will today. And, it's a great day any day I get to wake up blessed. And the thought for today was pretty cool. I've been doing this Proverbs thing from you do each day you take Proverbs. Today is, of course, the 10th day, so it's Proverbs 10, and 10:18 jumped out at me. Thought for today: hiding hatred makes you a liar. Slandering others makes you a fool. I've been both. It's funny, I've gone through trials and tribulations, and I can only speak for me. And just through those trials and tribulations, when I start to dislike or hate others, it starts to come out in other areas. When I start to slander others, all it does is make people stop and think to themselves, wow, this guy's, what a fool he is. And it's true. As I've started to grow and have taken the high road, and I was told by somebody a long, long time ago that, hey, listen, don't get down in the mud with anybody, and pray for them, and most importantly, don't slander anybody. Don't talk about anybody. Take the high road. And when I do that in my life, it's an amazing attribute that God gives me to be able to move forward in peace. Does it bother me sometimes what I feel and things like that when I'm disliking somebody? Or absolutely. That's why I have to go right to prayer for it, and I have to talk to others. I have to get rid of those resentments. I got to get rid of those angers and the fears, because it's all really comes out of fear. Fear of what people are going to think of me, fear of what people are going to say. And hey, listen, something. Hiding hatred makes you a liar. Slandering others makes you a fool. So, I'll take the high road today. Quote for today: be patient and understanding. Life is too short to be vengeful or malicious. Kind of funny how they both kind of worked out today. Today I don't have to be malicious or vengeful. I can have boundaries, and I can move forward and not have garbage in my life. I can move away from resentment and evil and sick and morbid thinking. I have enough of my own, thank you. So it's a good thing for me to not have that vengeful thought process that I used to have when I was using. I was going to get everybody. So I don't need to be malicious today. And that being said, we are going to bring on our friend Doc Holladay. Doc is a singer-songwriter. He's out of Nashville. Me and Doc have been following, and talking with each other for a couple of years now here on Facebook, and he's got a great message of hope. He is a person that you can tell that is, all about his recovery. So let's bring Doc on and talk to him. Good morning, Doc. Welcome to Waking Up Blessed.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me on. Good to be here.
Yeah, man. Any day we're above dirt, it's a good day to start. You know what I mean? So
that's the truth.
So Doc, let me, first of all, there's, kind of the format here is, what do you do? We get to wake up blessed. We have another day. What do you do to make that day for you a recovery day? What's your process in the morning?
Okay. Well, it to a degree it varies, but I'd say that as a rule, before I even I've got a couple of Facebook pages that one is called Whole Heart Recovery page and my own personal page. And what I usually do is I will read some sort of just before I get out of bed, I'll read some sort of inspirational or recovery-based something, whether it's quotes or certain books or recovery-based materials or things that help me. And generally, what I try to do is share that before I even get out of bed on some of these forums. And after that, if I've got time, I'll try to do a little meditation. I do a lot of that, and then a few days a week, I'll get up pretty early and go to the gym and think about what I've got to do that day and what's important, and prioritize the things that matter and try to let go of the things that don't, and basically just try to move forward in a way that doesn't have a lot of chaos and that focuses on the things that matter. And it's surprising with all the things that come at us, how little is really truly important, when you strip it all down. And so the more I can, and then if I'm having a really bad day, which doesn't really happen that often anymore, but sometimes I'll try to think about things I'm grateful for, go through gratitude lists, maybe talk to somebody if I need to do that. But that's basically it.
Great stuff. And again, the format is, the quote for today is, be patient and understanding. Life is too short to be vengeful or malicious. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Well, sure. I think that it kind of reminds me of that old quote, if you spot it, you got it, which is pretty common to hear in the meetings. I didn't like hearing that early on in the early days of recovery, because I was the victim, and it was everybody else's fault, and wanted to blame everything on everybody else. But what I think what we're really supposed to do, and what I've learned over the years, is that it's moving from a place out of fear, and like you mentioned earlier, and into a place of compassion. And what ends up, there was one of my sponsor I had at one time that told me he could tell what his spiritual condition was any given day, depending on how many jerks that he met on the highway or wherever he was, So it really comes down to a lot of projection on what we think about ourselves deep down in those places that we don't like to really get honest about. Is if we have a lot of shame and a lot of guilt and a lot of things that aren't being dealt with, we tend to project that outward onto other people, and it comes out sideways in a lot of different ways. And it's the one thing that I can't remember who this quote came from, but it really meant a lot to me. That though it's something like, those who have a strong sense of love and belonging have the courage to be imperfect. And I think, isn't that part of what's missing when we're out there and in addiction and is we don't feel loved and we don't feel like we belonged. And I think that's kind of part of the magic of the rooms, and that's the magic of the community of recovery, is maybe we didn't get those things in our families of origin or in relationships, and we learned that the people that we thought you should be able to trust, that maybe you couldn't trust, and that people hurt you, and they're just passing on their own pain, and it's just this vicious cycle. But if you can get to a place in meetings or with honest relationships with sponsors or recovering people, and feel like that you're surrounded by love and belonging, then you're not as terrified of being imperfect. And you don't want to blame everybody else. You can take it on and say, all right, what is my part in this? Maybe I am responsible for my own situation here, and that kind of thing.
Absolutely. And I know for myself, you said something earlier that hit it right on the head for me. And I thought to myself, I just had a guest on recently on Waking Up Blast that had said that he really loved the quote, and the quote was, if I run into 2 or more jerks in a day, guess who the common denominator is?
Right.
So the reality is that when I start going through the day and everybody's starting to get on my nerves, man, I'm the one that's really the problem. And, I have to stop and definitely meditate and pray and read some stuff and just take a breath, man. We get caught up in life. And I think that being human, and this was just said recently too, that being human, I think that sometimes we come into the recovery process and then 6 months down the road, we think that we're supposed to be perfect. And, or 8 months or a year down the road, 2 years down the road, you definitely think you're perfect. That you're working a perfect program, and you're doing this, and you're doing it. And guess what? It's a day at a time, and it's a daily reprieve, and we're going to make mistakes. The ultimate mistake is, you don't pick that first one up no matter what, mad, glad, or sad. And, having had the experience of doing that, I found that didn't work either. So the reality is that, that doesn't fix anything, and what it does is just makes everything worse. So the blessings today, Waking Up Blessed, is that I get to have a guy like you on the show and talk about real time, what do we do to make our lives better in the moments of insanity. So we're going to go on to the thought for the day, and it's the thought for the day. I've been doing this thing through Proverbs, reading a proverb every day. Today's day 10, Proverbs 10. So its thought for the day is, hiding hatred makes you a liar. Slandering others makes you a fool. What do you think?
Well, I think that's absolutely true. One of the big lessons for me in recovery was learning to be the same person everywhere that I go, and to be authentic. And basically what you're referring to there is the facade, and that the facade is something that I've really spent a lot of time thinking about, is hiding our true is trying to hide our true feelings and our true nature, and not dealing with that, because I always wanted people to like me, and I wanted approval and significance, and so I had all this shame and fear and pain, and I used it to build this facade, and I would basically paint that facade as fast as I could pick up other people's expectations, and I learned to be a performer. And it was more like who does everybody want me to be? Because the terror that I had is that people would actually really get to know me and hate me as much as I hated myself. And so it was that I was that way with God. I was that way with my parents. It was like, how much is enough, and when will I win your affection and approval? And so I became this performer and adapter. And as it turned out, I was pretty sharp and creative, and I didn't believe that myself. I just thought I was kind of fooling people, but it was that creativity that empowered an ability to hide. And I guess some of us are so broken that that thank God we get caught, because I wanted to get caught on some level, and I think that it's that true self that wants to get out. And so I'm kind of getting off track a little bit, but it's I think the lie is that we're trying to project this image of what it's more, you're worried more about your reputation than your character, and your reputation is what other people think you are. Your character is what you really are. And so you essentially, my experience with being in addiction and on the other side is that everything basically was a lie. I had so much anger and hatred and victim mentality and bitterness in my heart that it became the controlling factor in everything, and there was nothing authentic. I was a different person everywhere I went, and having to keep up with all of these lies and these different people that I'm supposed to be, and it just eventually collapsed in on itself. And thankfully, it was such a huge collapse that getting broken was the only hope, because I was so good at hiding and running away and being inauthentic that I almost got to the point of taking what I consider the last path to run away, which is, people think of suicide as rock bottom, but I actually now don't think it's rock bottom. I think that that's the last exit you can take to avoid actually hitting rock bottom, where you don't have to deal with the reality that you're running from. And so I got pretty close to that and had to learn that the hard way, that you just got to get down to that place where there is no lie left in your heart, and where you just have to accept what it is. And I guess I would call it, I've heard it described as an experience of defrosting, where your heart, and you've been numb and frozen for so long that as you start this process of recovery, feeling starts to come back into your heart and soul, and it starts to tingle. And at first it's kind of weird, but then all of a sudden those tingles start feeling like knives, because all this sadness and loss and anxiety and fear and all the stuff I was numbing with booze and drugs, I start feeling all that for the first time. And honestly, it's pretty horrific at first, but it's that welcoming and having the courage to go through that pain and not try to escape it. That's the only way I found to recover. Not trying to go around it or over it. I had to go through it.
Yeah. It all comes down to, for me, and I'm glad that we're talking about it, because when I start in any situation, when something comes up and I go into fear mode, for me it's to run. Now, I can physically run, get in a car, and run away. I can physically run. Or I can run to the old things that make me feel, what used to make me feel good. They don't make me feel good anymore, but I still use them, okay? So, and how do I use them? Well, of course, that thought of, man, I really hate that guy. Or, something, that guy's a jerk. Those two things are what I used to do. So when I go into those modes because I'm in fear and I'm going to run, that's just one way of being able to secure myself from the fear of what other people think, or what other people are saying, or what whatever it may be. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally do. It's pain management. It's anxiety. It's basically anxiety management.
So when I'm in that position, I don't know about yourself. How do you deal with that? For me, I pray, I stop, and understand that that first thought wrong, just wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not them, it's me. So what's your process to deal with something like that?
Well, if I'm being truly honest, I don't have that many of those instances anymore. Now, there was a time I had them all the time, but I generally what I try to do is be honest about it if I can recognize it and own it quickly. Admit that I basically just try to admit, look, I was feeling insecure. I was feeling, worried about what you were going to think, or I wanted your approval, or try to get really honest about what was my payoff in the situation, what caused me to make that choice to think that way about and to do this, and if and also having other people that you can talk to that will be, is pretty invaluable. You really almost have to have some people that'll keep you honest, so to speak.
Absolutely.
That will call you out, And so I guess it's just a combination of all those things and growing spiritually to the point of, again, going back to that thing about having an environment where you feel like that you are safe and you belong and you're loved, and it gives you the courage to be imperfect. And I think the other thing is to just kind of be gentle with yourself and to be compassionate with yourself about it, because as you said, we kind of expect we're supposed to be perfect right away, and we're never going to get there. It's one of those things that to me was almost another addiction, is that perfectionism and having to have control over everything. And I think perfectionism for me came from, the fear of other people's opinions and hiding my own shame, but it also was a form of controlling things, because if I keep everything perfect, then I don't ever have to admit that I was wrong about something. So I guess that's it. Hopefully that answers what you were asking.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as a singer-songwriter, I'm going to go into the music part of this, too. We have about 7 minutes left. So what I want to do is I want you to just let us know the music part of your life. Has that been a healing process in using music and writing music in the recovery process? Has that been a healing thing for you?
Oh, my goodness, absolutely. Yeah, it's I wish we had a little more time to talk about that in particular, because it's an interesting part of the journey. My motives for music early on were addiction based, I guess you would say. It was about wanting significance. It was about wanting attention and approval, and to create this larger than life, persona that would, if enough people love me and I could make it big or whatever, then I'm going to be okay. And then people that weren't listening to me will listen to me now, and that kind of thing. So my whole motive for doing it and wanting to be involved, I mean, I love music from birth, but I mean, my drive to do it and motives for it were more about ego and self-serving, striving for ego enhance. It was just like trying to fill a hole that I was never going to fill, looking for external things to fill an internal problem. But as I got into recovery and got a couple of years in, I started thinking about, it never went away, and I started thinking, well, what is it about this that draws me now, and what do I want to do with it? And there was this thing in my back of my mind that kept saying, I always wanted to write, but I didn't think I'd be good enough to do it, or have anything to say. But as I got more and more sober, I started realizing, man, I've got a lot to pull from here, and got mentored and wrote my way out of a lot of really dark places. So it's not the only thing I write. I do write other material too, but the recovery-based material has been a way to heal. It's been a way to express things and connect with people that, music as a way of kind of getting around the gatekeepers. So it's been a good way to tell my story and to spread the message that you can't get through sometimes any other way.
Very cool. And, it's funny how things, when you get, sober and clean, and how your life starts to represent out there. And through that, you have been voted among the top 3 singer-songwriters in Nashville 4 years running, 2012, 13, 14, 15. And I don't know what it is currently, but I know those 4 years you were, writing some great stuff. And that process is just what you were talking about. You were able to really put that music out there and be, authentic.
That's the key, man, is just find your own voice and be you, and just let it happen. Stop trying to be what you think everybody's going to love, and just be who you are, because that's who people are going to actually respond to.
Great stuff. Practice makes perfect. Can you tell us about this song, because we're going to be playing it here at the end? Yeah.
I think you've got a copy of the demo, and that was written with a guy from Scott Moffitt, who's part of the Moffitts, and also my buddy Dave Rude, who plays guitar with Tesla. We were at my publisher's office and had set up a ride and just got together and sat around, and we were messing around with all these different ideas, and as it usually happens, we're kind of frustrated until we landed on something real, and we started talking about the struggles of recovery and different kinds of things, and then it just flowed out. It was really fun to write, and it had the message. There's all kinds of recovery messages, but this is one that I think is very important to remember, is that we don't have to be perfect, and it's all about the process. So this is actually going on their new record, their comeback record, and I didn't realize at the time how big the Moffitts had been back in the day. They were multi-platinum act, and this is their first record in 18 years, and hopefully this message is going to get out there to a lot of people. That's why I'm doing it. So I'm excited that this is going to have a platform.
We want to have you back in the future. We have some other shows that we produce, of course, Music and Recovery, and that's a half an hour show, and we usually air it on Saturday night. So I would love to have you back, and, in that forum, and talk more about the music aspect and what you do and how you do it, but most importantly, how you can share with others some of your music, and maybe it can help them to, take another look at recovery. Kind of a cool thing.
I'd love to do that. That'd be an honor.
So let's talk more about that. I want to thank you for being on Waking Up Blessed this morning and sharing your walk in recovery, and how Waking Up Blessed is for you, and what you do, and how you walk your day, and how you deal with life on life's terms. Great show this morning. I want to thank you for being a part of Rockers in Recovery, and of course Waking Up Blessed.
Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
We're going to have you back soon. I'm looking forward to it, Doc. This was a great show. I appreciate it.
Excellent.
All right, guys. Here you go. Practice makes perfect. Doc Holladay.
Every time that I gave and gave up, swore that I had enough, ended up broken on my knees. And every love felt like a game I couldn't win, and I found the strength to start again. Keep believing. Every time I smile when things got tough, push myself and wouldn't stop. I was finding out I was made of. We gotta learn to live somehow. It might hurt right now, but practice makes was no one there to take my hand, pull me out of quicksand, get me on my feet. I had to find a way to rise above the fear that tried to pull me under. Yeah, I fought those demons tooth and nail. We've got to learn to live somehow. It might hurt like hell, but practice makes perfect. Yeah, and it's worth it. There's nothing you can do. Put on this shot of high, trouble's gonna find you anyway. It's alright, don't be afraid. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. Get a little closer every day, finding our way. Practice makes perfect. Yeah, and it's worth it. There's nothing you can do. Put on that shot of high, trouble's gonna find you anyway. Yeah, it's alright, don't be afraid. Practice makes perfect. Put on that shot of high, trouble's gonna find you anyway. Put on that shot of high, trouble's gonna find you anyway. Put on that shot of high, trouble's gonna find you anyway. Put on that shot of high.
There you go. Practice makes perfect. Doc Holladay. Thanks for tuning in to Waking Up Blessed. Again, John Hollis, host for the show. We'll catch you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. You can go right to Rockers in Recovery on Facebook, and it'll be pinned to the top of the page, and at Rockers in Recovery on Facebook. You can also go to rockersinrecovery.com. Check out all the information there. We want to thank our sponsors for today's show. SoberMap. SoberMap is an app. You can find it at the App Store and Google Play. What it does is it helps you to navigate your area meetings, or maybe if you're going on a trip, it'll show you where some 12-step meetings are and give you other recovery-related information. So thank you to SoberMap app, and check them out at the App Store and Google Play. Download it and get to a meeting today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, being a part of our world here at Waking Up Blessed. God bless. Have a great day.
Rockers in Recovery Radio is based on opinion only and is not meant to treat or diagnose any health or mental health issue of any kind. If you feel you need help for any health-related issues, please contact a physician or mental health professional. The opinions expressed by our guests are not necessarily those of Rockers in Recovery.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.